Hello my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another spoiler-free book review to share with you guys, and today we are talking about The Fortune Seller. So like I said, this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm just going to give you the basic plot synopsis and then some of my thoughts towards the end. But this book does come out February 13th, so if you're listening to this and you're like, that sounds like something I would be interested in, definitely mark your calendars so you don't miss it. So this book is about our main character, Rosie, and she is returning to Yale for her senior year at the beginning of the book, after having spent a year abroad. I can't remember where she was. I want to say Argentina, but I really don't think that's it. But apparently that's where I've sent her off to. So anyway, at the beginning of the book when we meet her, she is coming to campus, and she's arriving at the house that her and her three friends are going to be staying at for this year. She's happy she doesn't have to stay at the dorms, and they're going to have this house. So after a bit of a hiccup, she ends up at the right house, and she's making quick work of trying to get settled in. Now the thing about Rosie is that, unlike a lot of her Yale contemporaries, she comes from a more upper middle class family. She has a different financial situation than a lot of the other students at Yale, and definitely different from those in her friend group. Now, she thinks it's just going to be the four of them staying at this house, but as she arrives and she's getting settled, she learns that while she was away for that year, her best friend, Chris, has made another friend, a girl or woman named Annalise, and she's going to be the fifth roommate in the house. And not only is she going to be the fifth roommate in the house, Rosie and Annalise are actually going to be sharing a room. And at first she's kind of like, why am I sharing a room with her? And Chris is like, well, why wouldn't you be? And she's like, well, I don't know her. And Chris is like, she's great, you're gonna love her. And then she's like, why aren't you sharing a room with her? You know her. Anyway, it's a whole thing. In the end, Rosie's kind of like, whatever, I'll do it. Especially when she finds out that because she's going to be sharing a room, her rent is going to be cut down from $600 a month to $300 a month. And she's like, you know what? It's worth it. And she thinks, like, my roommate last year, or not last year, but the last year she was at Yale in the dorms was kind of a dud. There's no way it can be worse than that. Plus, it's super cheap. So eventually she meets Annalise, and Chris was right. Rosie likes her a lot. Annalise is a tarot card reader, and that's kind of her big personality trait, especially when she meets anyone and she likes to read the cards. And at first Rosie's kind of taken aback by it, but in time she grows to really like it and wants to learn more about it. Now, another thing that all of these five girls who are now living in the house have in common is that they are equestrians, and they're all on the riding team at Yale. And so horses are a big part of this book, which, you know, if you're really not into horses, maybe that would be a bit off-putting. But I enjoyed it. You know, I spent some time riding when I was very young. Probably like 8 or 9. It only lasted a year or two, but because of that, I kind of enjoyed that part of the book. You might imagine as time goes by, that becomes a pretty important plot point, not only just for what brings the girls together, but also what eventually tears them apart, because about midway through the point, about at the midway point of the book, there's a tragedy, and that sort of changes everything. And then from there on, the book takes place after graduation, once the girls are out in the world. And that's all I'm going to tell you, because any more would be a spoiler. But that tragedy at the midway point had my jaw on the floor. Like, I knew something was going to happen, but I honestly did not expect it to be that. And I kind of appreciated the author for taking it there. And I continued to have that feeling throughout the rest of the book. So you might be thinking to yourself, oh, poor girl goes to fancy school with rich kids is a overdone trope, and it might be, but the way this book is written is different. It's different than other books of that trope, if that makes sense. Because I've read many of those books too. I'm sure we all have. But first of all, the writing was fantastic. I thought it was paced well. I thought it was well written. I thought it was great. And there's more to the story than that. I'm trying to think of how else to word it. There's more layers. And I just thought, you know, because tropes are tropes for a reason. They're, you know, the tried and true storytelling, or the tried and true way that we tell stories. So anyway, I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I think I'm going to give it a 4 or 4.5 stars. And like I said earlier, I can't wait to read more from this author. I don't even really know what else to say about it. I thought the characters were well written. I cared about them. Not all of them, because some are not good, but even the ones you don't care about, they're well written enough that you're invested. And that was a bit of a problem that I had with a book I reviewed recently. I was like, I don't care about any of these people. But in this book I did. I cared about them. And yeah, just in general, I thought it was well written, well paced. And if you've read any other books from this author, please do let me know. I think she has one called The Ballerinas, which I'm interested in. When I was a kid, I'm sure like many of us, I wanted desperately to be a ballerina. So anytime there's like a movie or a book or a show or anything about ballerinas, I'm like, sign me up. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me for today. Like I said, mark your calendar. February 13th. If you like the poor girl goes to the rich kid school, if you like that trope. If you like tarot and the mystical, those sorts of things, which I love. If you like horses, if you like horses, this is for you. If you like authors that aren't afraid to take it a step further than maybe other authors would, I think you would like this. And yeah, just in general, I loved it. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.